presence of something weird. So, the chemical they found in his blood is something that you normally find in eye drops.
Whoa.
She had actually the coroner, who her name is Sabrina Gass, she had actually never heard of this chemical before. So she was like, it's called, okay, I'm gonna butcher this, but it's called tetrahydrozoline. So she was like, well, what is that? And so she actually had to go look it up. And so when she looked it up, she was like, oh my God. And she realized it was the ingredient, the common ingredient found in Visine. So, you know, when you look on the back of like a Visine cap and it says active ingredient, it's going to say
Yeah.
tetrahydrolazine, or however you say
I
that.
almost want to grab a bottle now at my cabinet, medicine cabinet. This is just really, really very unique. It's unusual. I never heard of anything like that. Like, who would just sit there and think on a rainy day, I want to kill my husband. Okay, I could stab him, I could shoot him, I could suffocate him, throw him in a
Well,
river, and
remember,
oh, I know, eye drops. Like,
remember though, she's a nurse. So anyway,
so
so
she
even the
knows she
coroner
knows
So even the
chemicals
coroner
and
didn't know what
how
this
it's
was. So
done.
she looked it up and it did say that it was, it was the active ingredient in eye drops. And the test results showed that there was a very large amount of the chemical in his system. So what she's saying,
Type of a
it
poison.
was what she's saying is 68 nanograms per million were found in the blood sample. And basically what that means is that was a shit ton load.
Oh, wow.
That's the
Wow.
layman's term, a shit ton load.
Yeah, layman's terms. That's crazy. A
Yeah.
whole lot. Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
So they also called, by the way, they also called tetrahydrolazine. It's also called THZ. So I guess I'll be calling it THZ.
Well, that's a good thing to have an abbreviation for it after all. Yeah, that's a long one,
so
but oh
so
my gosh,
people
that's crazy.
people actually abuse this as a regular drug, and it's, I guess in modern days it's called a Mickey Fin. I don't know.
Oh, like a
So a
date rape
Mickey, I guess it's a
rape
Mickey.
drug.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, that's date
So
rape drug, and they look like eye drops. They just put the drops in your
oh,
drink when
so
you're not looking, of
basically,
course.
what a Mickey or what a date rate drug is, somebody
Hmm.
puts this drug in your beverage. So ladies, even men, you can't even just say ladies anymore. Ladies and gentlemen,
Right.
don't leave your
Hmm.
drink unattended. If you have ever left your
Don't.
drink unattended in a place with a bunch of people that I guess is not family, yeah,
Yeah.
just leave the drink. You could always get a new one. I have
It's
never,
like,
if
oh,
I
I'll be
leave
right
my
back. I'm
drink,
gonna dance. Never. I never do. I take mine to the bathroom if I'm like seriously. If
yeah,
I don't have one of my girls with me, it's like I'm holding on to this thing for dear life because I don't trust it. Because one of my best friends, that happened to her, and there was a
oh
lawyer, and
really?
he dragged her back to his yeah he dragged her back to his office across town. And once she was in his office, of course it was closed for the day, and there was no helping her, and that's it. He did it, and she woke up and didn't have a clue how she got to his office, but she remembered. He says, "Hey, can I buy you a drink?" And when he bought her a drink, they were talking, etc., etc. And he goes, "Hey, do you want to go dance?" And instead of going out to go dance with her, she looked back and he wasn't there yet. And he told her, "Oh, I had to go to the bathroom." But he went to go put it in her drink, and then he skidded into the dance floor as if nothing happened. And when they got back, she said he just kept watching her, anticipating, like, you can tell when someone's antsy, kind of like,
Mm-hmm.
what's the rush?
Mm-hmm.
And shortly after, that was it. She just kind of melted. He's like, "Hey, do you
Wow.
want to go get some fresh air?" Boom. Fresh air led to the car, dragged her to the car, and that was it. These things happen. Definitely.
Yeah, I
But you
mean,
know
I
what I
know it
did?
happens.
This is crazy, but what I didn't understand about this story is that I was thinking that she would like had put the eye drops into his eyes, and then either way it still gets into your body, and that's how that's how she did it. But it's the
Well,
fact that
it's two different
they're
ways it gets into your body. You put it in your eyes,
yeah.
it's not going to affect you because it's made for
because
your
it's,
eyes.
yeah,
But
that's
once
why I
it
was wondering.
enters
Yeah,
your stomach and it goes into your bloodstream,
your
that's something
bloodstream.
completely
Hmm.
different. So, anyways, what I was saying
Wow.
was, um, oh yeah, I was also saying that with whenever I have a drink, I don't even if I turn away from my drink, my hand is over the top. If I'm not 100% paying attention to my drink, I'm not drinking it. I don't care. And that's just
Okay,
the
are
end
we
of that.
talking about are we talking about Pepsi? Because I didn't think you drink in the first place. So what are you guarding? It's just a Pepsi or like a Mountain
I'm
Dew,
talking
so you
about
can always get
anything that
another
has
one.
an open top. If I turn my
Yeah,
head and a lot of people are around, I'm not drinking that. If I leave it, I'm not drinking it. If it is unattended in any way, I'm not drinking it.
yeah, in a
And I
social
will
setting,
teach my
that's
daughter the
smart.
same thing.
Yeah.
So, anyways, a Mickey or a rape drug is basically a substance like THC that's introduced into a drink beverage without the person's consent, and then that person then drinks it, and it's done for the purpose of incapacitating them, so they could either rape them or rob them or both. So,
Yep.
and actually,
Exactly what happens.
if you watch the movie Wedding Crashers, there's a scene where a character's like one of the people squirts eye drops into the drink of somebody he hates, and then just
I've seen that
hilarity.
so many times and I'm just trying to recall. But yeah, but the thing is, it's really common and it's very easy to do. There was well, this is another segue with movies, but there was this really good movie with these three beautiful women. And their job was they created this little gang, right? So what they would do is they would rob these guys, get them, well, first they go to these clubs, dance with the guys, get them, talk them into going to their hotel with them. They get into the hotel and they'll say, hey, can I make you a drink? Or or do you want to have a drink? And they're like, yeah, well, get more comfortable. So they take off their their clothes to get comfortable, so that way they can't run. And then as soon as they're having their drink, she's like, oh, well, however they do it, they put the eye drops in their drink, and the guy's like, he doesn't realize what's hit him. Basically, as soon as they do that, for some reason, like within a couple of seconds, the guy is knocked out. I guess it happens pretty quickly. I think this is a pretty strong drug because it looks like it happens very fast, and then they basically rob them or they kill them, whichever one comes first. But it's just so they got away with this for a while. They were robbing these guys, making all kinds of money because you can't really, you're not looking for, oh yeah, someone put something in my drink unless you're there at the in the environment, say at the club or at a party. But if you
Hmm.
take someone back to your room, you're not necessarily thinking, okay, they're just going to put some eye drops, these poison eye drops in my drink. So it took them a while to really figure out what was happening. So this has been around for a while. I just really was picturing my eyes are red. I just want to clear eyes gets the red out. Remember that commercial?
Yeah.
And and so
Clear
that's what I
eyes.
was thinking, like clear eyes. I mean, if he can be any more excited, we'd have to calm him down. That commercial was so annoying. But that's what came to mind for me. But it's still, I still have to admit, it's kind of like up there with unique and unusual ways to actually murder someone because the average person's not going to think of that.
Yeah. So actually, if you do consume THC, then you can have it causes nausea, vomiting, reduced heart rate, dizziness, and confusion. And if the person dealing the THC to another person empties the entire bottle in someone's drink, then it could actually attack their respiratory system.
Okay, so it's just a matter of the amount, excessive amount, which is in his case. That's
So
what happened.
yeah, it could definitely then, it'll make your breathing slow to the point of you suffocating basically.
Oh my
Um
gosh.
yeah, the substance is colorless, it's odorless, and
Odorless
it's
and
and it's
tasteless.
tasteless. So yeah, so
Hmm.
even if you just put it in like a bottle of water or whatever, nobody's even gonna know it's
It'll be
there.
clear.
It's not even gonna be
Right.
like
That's why I'm
bitter or
saying it's an
anything
easy
like
one to
that.
get away with. It's an easy one to get away with. Not that we're giving anyone ideas out there who are not, but it's just that people think of these ways, these really strange and unusual ways. Um,
I wouldn't
I
have
mean,
even thought of that.
well, No, that's my point. I definitely wouldn't. The only reason I know so much about it is when it happened to my friend, and then I saw that movie, and I can just see people getting away with that, like in just different scenarios. You know, oh, why don't I make you a drink while I get more comfortable? You go into the bathroom. This is what they were doing. They slip into something more comfortable. At least that's what the guy's thinking, and he's all excited. He's like, oh, let me get myself ready. Oh, and then you just go ahead and have a drink. I'll be right out. They come out the bathroom, boom, he's already knocked out. He's dead, actually. Isn't that something? Okay, let's take his wallet.
Yeah.
But see, the thing is, the good thing is these days that doesn't happen so often. This used to be something that was more so in the 80s and 90s. Even the movie that I just referred to was
Hmm.
back in the day. It was back in the late, like the middle to the late 90s. So it's
Yeah.
not something that happens so often anymore.
I mean, do you
Just
think
like
it doesn't really happen that often?
no, no, not like it used to. No, because there used to be reports constantly. How often do you hear of it now? You know what I mean? It was just like a certain drugs or ways to kill someone, and it sounds crazy, are almost trendy, just like arsenic was trendy, at the turn of the century, and then it just kind of faded out. Not that people don't still use it, maybe somewhat, but you don't necessarily hear about it so much.
All right, so the coroner had all this, just what is this? Oh my god, oh my god. So she actually called Lana to, she just wants to know how in the world could this have gotten into Steven's system? Like this is just so random. Like were you trying to like put eye drops in his eyes and then accidentally squirt it in his mouth, kind of like the time that you were trying to catch a fly and you accidentally shot him in the head with a crossbow? And
Right.
I'm just trying to figure out what's going on here. So when she called Lana, Lana went ahead and came in, and the coroner said the way she sat down, because I guess they asked the coroner later like what did she look like when she came in. So the coroner said the way she sat down, it was like very confident. So she sat down very confidently, and by this time, of course, she knew the autopsy had been performed, but she didn't know the outcome. She also didn't know that investigators and the FBI were listening in the other room because, they're now wondering, yeah, how did THC get into his system? So they're listening in the other room, two-way mirror and stuff, and she just thinks it's her and the coroner. Um,
They
so the
always do.
coroner, so the coroner told Lana that they found a drug in Steven's system. They didn't say what. They said we found a drug, which, according to her, remember, he's a heavy drug user. Okay, so
Right.
they told her that they found a drug in Steven's system and asked her if she had any idea how like this could happen. So Lana said, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah. Somebody one time told him that Visine would help him go to the bathroom, and so he put like 2 drops in his coffee, and that would make him go to the bathroom." So the coroner was like, "Oh, how long has he been doing this for?" And Lana was like, "Oh, for years."
Oh wow.
So yeah, so now they knew she was aware um that they were going to find Visine in his system. So they realized, okay, so she knows they knew they were going to find
Something.
Visine in his system,
Yeah.
and she had to come up with a clever answer as to why it's there. So then
Why not
that's
just
when,
say I have no idea? That's makes
because
no sense to me. I wouldn't
she
volunteer.
has to have her story straight. So
Mm.
that's when the coroner was like, "All right, so let's go over this toxology. There's a drug called tetrahydrozoline," and Lana was like, "Oh yeah, that's his,
Tetrahyzoline.
shut up." And
Was easy.
Lana was
Tetrahyzoline.
tetrahydrozoline. Anyways, so
Got it.
Lana was like, yeah, Lana was like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, that's his Visine." So then the coroner was like, "Oh." And then she was just surprised that she immediately knew what THC was. She didn't even say THC, she said tetrahydrozoline. And she immediately knew what it was because she was like, "Oh, yeah, that's his Visine." So even the coroner who works in the medical practice didn't even know what that was, and she knew what that was.
Yeah, but she's like the world's dumbest criminal after all. I thought she was a lot smarter than that. She literally is just saying too much. Why? Why are you